Storytelling was a big deal in my family.
Oh,
A lot of Irish tradition of storytelling. My grandmother was very dramatic, extremely dramatic. You know, anytime there's a dinner party, it's everybody gets to tell their stories
absolutely.
about the family. So
Absolutely.
art and storytelling was valued in my family. So I think
That's lovely.
that had a lot of influence on
That's
me.
lovely. Hi, this is Victoria Hunter, and I'm at the beautiful outdoor studio of David Hoobler, who is a rather well-known children's book artist with an adorable protagonist, I understand. His name is Zonk.
Zonk.
And Zonk is a
Sonoran desert tortoise and lives only in the northern portion of the Sonoran Desert, southern Arizona and northern Mexico. So I used to see him on the trails when I was out there hiking. I was actually kind of apprenticing for a screenwriter.
Okay.
And we used to take people on week-long retreats to do writing and drawing and creativity, and I was the guy in charge, and I used to do the little exercises with everybody in the class. So one day he says, "You've got 5 minutes. I need a funny little story about a funny character with a funny name." I had written a little story about a tortoise, a desert tortoise, and one of my friends said, "You know, that'd make a great kid's book." At the time I was trying to be an actor, so I did do some movie work. I had done a couple of drawings. This screenwriter's wife was a painter, and she had seen my drawings and really thought I was wasting my life. I should be painting. And she actually took me into her studio, and I did start painting with her. So some years later, I pulled the manuscript out, and I started painting in earnest. A couple of big publishers were very interested.
Oh.
And the process, I don't know if you've been through this, but it can be pretty nerve-wracking. They take the manuscript and they can sit on it for a year, and a number did. Large publishers, Bantam Doubleday had it for a year. And then after about a year, year and a half, I got these rejections back. And by that time I had started showing artwork, and I was selling artwork. And people were calling me up saying, "We bought these prints, but we can't find the book," you know. And then I realized, you know, I could probably publish this myself and sell it. And so I did. I went ahead and started publishing. Well, the story is he's a tortoise, but he wants to be a sea turtle. So he's looking for the ocean, and, you know.
in the desert, not so much.
You're crazy. There is no such thing.
Well, I think the story would definitely resonate with people. I mean, the idea of a tortoise in the desert wanting to be a sea turtle, that's wonderful. That's like all of us wanting to be astronauts or something like that.
Well, I'm from the Bay Area, and I think after 6 years in Tucson, there was sort of a subliminal thing, you know. It's like, oh my God, let me out of here. I gotta get to the ocean.
Let me get to the ocean.
The second book, I drove the length of Baja.
Wow.
I camped all along the Gulf of California, all the way down to the tip, and spent about a month doing that. And I learned a lot about the Gulf of California, and I started including that material in a more deliberate way in the children's books.
And of course, the beauty of all that is that the children obviously are the ones who are going to eventually help us save the planet.
Right. When I was a kid, I always thought every drawing had to be perfect for time. Every story had to be perfect. And the teachers really wrestle with the kids, do rewrites. Rewriting is just such a task. So what I present is I show the children usually a small thumbnail sketch of a drawing, and then how I take that from a thumbnail sketch through this process of the ink, and then the final paintings. So I get to show them that even a quote-unquote professional illustrator will do many versions, many renditions before they get the last one. And then I show them my first drafts of the stories, which I send to, I've used the same editor on my last 3 books. And so I show the kids those drafts with her notes in the margins.
That's
and her little
brilliant.
stickies.
So your idea of showing them the process, I think, is wonderful.
Every year we have this gray whale migration. It's right off the coast here. You can go out to Point Reyes and look out and see gray whales.
Exactly,
So I went out to the beach, and the whales were right up against the beach. They were literally in the surf. Yeah, 20 yards offshore, all these whales. It was amazing. I mean, it really was an amazing thing. I was really stunned. I went out there 3 or 4 nights and would watch. And as the sun went down, they got more and more active, and they were breaching, and they were just, spy hopping, where they poke their nose up and
Yes.
they look around.
Yes.
And there were flukes in the air. So it was quite a scene. I went out there 3 or 4 times, and so when I started my new book, I was thinking about this as I was watching the sun go. I was thinking, this is like the biggest birthday party in the world.
Yes.
And so it was a pretty natural thing. So in the third book, Zonk makes his way around the tip of Baja and then out to the calving lagoons of West Baja.
Well, we can see that Zonk comes from a long line of storytellers and a long line of artists, so it certainly is no surprise that out in the desert you would find a lovely little tortoise who would take us all this far and give us all this beautiful artwork. And thank you so much for your time, David. It's really a pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
And Zonk.
And Zonk. Yes.
Back to you.